Greetings all, and rather miserable weather out there at the moment, isn't it? It would well do without all that rubbish. But hey ho, it's the joys of living in these climate of the UK. What comes to my mind today? I'll tell you what, isn't it amazing the power that our voice can have? I mean, I'm using it right now for me to convey my thoughts to you as you listen in, or not, as the case may be. And thinking, come on, Gary, get on with it, and I shall. So there are tones in our voice, aren't there? And it's amazing how the way you say something and really reflect on what the real meaning is. And we can just go sort of like, say the words go away. So I'll use this as an example. So someone might be joking with you. He said, oh, go away. What's the matter with you? And you can tell in that instance that that tone of voice is it's really quite jovial, quite friendly, isn't it? But if I say, oh, go away, what's the matter with you? You see the difference. Suddenly there's a real, you can tell that that person's upset. There's real almost aggression in that voice. And it's incredible how the words are influenced by the tone, by the kind of like meaning behind something there, and even your sort of like facial expression, how you express it, your physical expression, say with your hands or whatever, or even your mood. You know, if your shoulders are hunched or if they're back, you're laughing and smiling, or you're scowling at someone. It really can show what the true message is behind that words. And so, from like a more, like we say, higher perspective, it comes to us really just to try and catch our words sometimes, to catch our thoughts before we go on perhaps the more, say, less conciliatory route with our words. And there are times you're going to get triggered. 100% that's going to be triggered. And you have to remember that when you find yourself triggering, it can have an echo that may be somewhat deleterious to what you really wish to happen. And suddenly you've come back later and said, oh, why did I say that? Or why did those words come out like that? And it can cause rancor and upset from the way you just say your words. And it's important that, remember, all our words have power. And of course, if we use a softer tone, a more gentle tone, you can kind of like encourage a much more, I would say, pleasant response. So if you was to say, oh, you're struggling there, here, let me give you a hand. Let me assist you. And straight away, you can see by the way you're talking, there's a softer tone. And in that way, everything all calms down, doesn't it? Everything calms down. And so the message for all of us really is when we find ourselves in those scenarios where we may find ourselves being pushed, tested, just remember that your voice is a reflection of your inner state, a expression of your energy, and that it has power. What do you wish to do with that power? Just like with your hands and your bodies, you can make or create, create, or destroy. Same is true with your voice. That can make, it can elevate, it can lift people up, it can raise people up, but it can also put people down, can't it? Just think of a court, guilty, and straight away there is judgment, isn't there? Innocent, and there again, it's relief. I don't just use those two words there, and the way those words can come across as to what they can bring forward. So I'd like you just going a takeaway from this. It's just, if you can, before you find yourself reacting, just pause for a moment before you speak and just think to yourself, what kind of effect are those words going to have? Are they going to bring a good response, or maybe something I'll regret? And don't get me wrong, there are times when you're quite entitled to express your displeasure at something. I'm not saying you don't express displeasure, but just be aware that there, like everything else, there will be some kind of pushback. And is it going to be for your benefit, or is it going to be to the detriment of yourself and those echoes around you? Because remember, when we speak, it reverberates and it has a knock on effect, and it affects someone else's mood, and then they may well be put them in a bad mood and they start getting upset or elevated, as the case may be. So think about that wonderful voice of yours and those wonderful words we convey. And if you've made it this far, and I thank you for making it this far, please do consider liking and subscribing. Thank you so much. I wish you sweet adieu.